What's going on, guys? Going to start up in about 5 minutes, the Friday Night SmackDown review. And welcome in. If it's your first time here, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Also, when you make your way in, if you've subscribed already, be sure to hit the thumbs up button. Hit that like button you see here on the live. And I appreciate you guys being here with me. Nas, Anthony, how we doing? That's all right, Ant. I appreciate you being here. Believe you're subscribed already, right? Welcome in. Nas, what'd you guys think about SmackDown tonight? Thought it was a very okay show at best, but we'll look at the bright spots. Notifications has been easier. Very cool. All right, good to hear that. Now it's good to hear that, man. Again, glad to have you guys with me. We'll wait a few more minutes. Wait at least 5 minutes or so. Get some people in here. In addition, and we'll get to talking about what we saw today, what we saw tonight. So, decent show. Nothing crazy. I was expecting a little bit more out of that main event type of deal we had with Roman, Seth, and Punk. Thought it was okay. I'm looking forward to the match. That said, but again, show was decent. What's up, Cal? That this year's this year wrestling? Yes, that I did, Cal. Hopefully Goldberg doesn't plan on wrestling much this year. Hopefully, it's just that one match that he wants to get that final match against whomever it is, Gunther or somebody else, and hopefully that'll be it. That'll be that for Bill Goldberg. You got a lot to say, Nas? We'll drop it in the chat here. I mean, obviously, as we always do, we go bit by bit, segment by segment on here. But, I mean, feel free to elaborate on what you loved, what you didn't like tonight. And, again, before we get into it, guys, if you're new here, welcome. Hit the subscribe button. Also, hit that like button in the corner as well. All that contributes to the channel. And, again, look forward to seeing what you guys thought about tonight's show. I thought it was okay at best, especially, less than 4 weeks away from WrestleMania 41. But we'll get to it. We'll get to it in a few minutes, so. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? We will be reviewing Friday Night SmackDown in about 2 minutes. If you're new here, welcome. Hit the subscribe button. Hit that like button as well. And we'd love to see what you guys thought about tonight's show in the chat. What did you like? What did you not really like all that much? Again, I thought it was an okay show at best. Expected a little bit more out of certain things, especially with the Reigns, Rollins, and Punk segment. But all signs are pointing towards, pun intended, that we will be getting that triple threat match at WrestleMania. So, Tim, what's up? How we doing? Let's see here. KO, Randy Orton. Yeah, we're having that. Sean, do you have any thoughts on vegans? Not off the top. A couple of my good friends are. Hello, it's official Punk Rollins, and yeah, it's gonna be a good WrestleMania match there, Rachel. But I was not overly impressed with the main event segment. But I did enjoy the main event match with Los Garza and Street Profits. Thought that was a great match. All four of those men are so talented. What's up, Phil? Welcome in, guys. Yogi, what's up? Wrestling fans alike, be sure to hit the subscribe button. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about Friday Night SmackDown and the road to WrestleMania tonight. So again, if you're new here, welcome on in. Hit that like button. All right, hit that subscribe button. Want to hear what you guys thought about SmackDown? What are you looking forward to? All right, on the road to WrestleMania, what match are you most intrigued about seeing, whether it was scheduled yet or not? And we're going to get to the review in just 2 minutes. So I appreciate you being here with me on this Friday night. Let's see, favorite part is it was great to see Roman. Absolutely, Rachel. It's great to see all those guys. But again, I thought the whole brawl at the end, I was expecting a little more. Not sure what, but it was exciting to a point, knowing we're going to get that match. And that was about it, but we'll get to it. Yes, I appreciate you guys being here. Again, we're going to start up in a minute. And again, hit that like button, guys. Hit that subscribe button. And we're going to talk a little bit about Friday Night SmackDown. Let's start off with the open, obviously. We'll go bit by bit in order here. Randy Orton started off the show as the international crowd there in Italy tonight always does best. They're great with making superstars feel like just that, superstars. Coming out there, singing Randy Orton's voices. It was a beautiful thing to see. You know, Randy Orton's gotten this a lot, especially over the last year or two. Um, it's nice to see. Before Randy Orton could even begin his promo on KO, KO's music hits. KO makes his way out and basically went on to say he started off with an apology, saying guys like Cody, guys like Sammy deserve what they got, but maybe he shouldn't have treated Randy Orton to that pile driver many months ago. Basically, long story short, wanted to make up with Randy. And he also said last week the reason he took Carmelo Hayes out of the ring, he was trying to save Randy from his own self. He doesn't want Randy turning into the Randy of old, kicking anybody in the head and doing those kinds of crazy things. And so he goes on to say, we should basically bury the hatchet. We should go on and be a tag team and win the tag team gold at WrestleMania 41. Now, as you could imagine, Randy Orton was not at all pleased with what he was hearing from KO. He didn't buy any of it. So he said it went from fight Owens fight to bitch Owens bitch as his new slogan. I thought that was pretty good. Went on to say, he says he shouldn't drop him on his head and he's trying to save him from himself. Like, what are you trying to say here? He said it was great that you dropped me on my head because now he can then again hear the voices in his head. And as the theme song says, and at WrestleMania, he's going to kick Owens' head clean off his shoulders. So that was an enjoyable opening segment. I did like that. Then we would see Damian Priest then make his entrance for a tag team matchup we would get in just a minute. So we'll talk about that. Yeah, I don't trust Heyman either, Rachel. If you know, you know. I can see you're a big WWE fan. Yeah, Philip, I love All Pro Wrestling. Several companies, all kinds of good stuff. But yeah, grew up on WWF for sure. Yeah, I agree, Rach. Let's see if I say your background is dope. Thank you. Well, tell your father I said thank you, Nas. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. So let's get on to this tag team match. I don't want to, bypass the whole KO Randy stuff that we've been talking about for weeks, but this match is, I guess, I don't know if they put out a flyer since they announced it in the last couple hours, but that match is going to happen. KO and Randy. We found out at the main event, basically, we're getting Seth, Punk, and Roman. So those are two matches we know we're getting for sure. And good for the Street Profits. So what did you guys, by the way, before we get to it later on, what did you guys think of the Street Profits' new theme song? I thought it was good. It's a nice change. It's definitely different. It's not as... the fans are going to be very involved with it because Montez Ford showed the fans how to get involved with the hand gestures and stuff, moving the arms. So he's trying to get his own thing going just like Jey Uso's done, right? It's much different than their original theme that they've had since NXT, which has been very fun. But this is more of like a tweener theme. It's not an all-out heel, but it's cool. Hey, man, what's up there? Guys, be sure to hit that subscribe. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button in the corner as well. Welcome in. KO Mania is upon us. That is right, Cal. So, again, I'm looking forward to Randy and KO at Mania. I'll leave it at that. We had Damian Priest and Jimmy Uso versus Drew McIntyre, Shinsuke Nakamura. Decent tag team match. The way this one ended is, Priest and Uso got the win. South of Heaven chokeslam from Priest to Nakamura. Now, post-match, this is where things really get juicy. McIntyre attacks Priest, lays him out with a Claymore. And so, again, we know we're going to be getting yet again another match from the SmackDown side of things. At WrestleMania 40, Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre. I know more times than not, I hear people kind of like, oh, whatever. Drew deserves better. He should be doing more. And I get that. But I don't think it takes away from the fact that even though this is a non-title feud, I think it's going to be a good match. I do. I think it's going to be a good match at WrestleMania. So that's what we got out of that. That was the first official match of the night. So the babyfaces won on that side. Backstage with LA Knight and Braun Strowman going back and forth. Strowman tells him that his match tonight is a number one contenders match against Jacob Fatu. So whoever won between Strowman and Jacob Fatu would then go on to face LA Knight at a later date for the U.S. title. So we'll get to that when that match obviously happens. Now we have via satellite Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton. And I know a lot of you in the chat want to talk about this for various reasons, whether you're all about Tiffy time, whether you're all about the Queen, Charlotte Flair. So we're going to get to that in a second. Let's see here. I do not want to see that match. Kevin Owens is going to win. You're tired of seeing Orton and KO? And to be honest, look, the back and forth, I could understand if you're tired of that, but I'm not tired at all of seeing the potential of these two having a good WrestleMania match. I'm here for it. Yeah, definitely. So look, let's get to this right now. Charlotte Flair, Tiffany Stratton. Stratton starts answering. Flair was speaking over Stratton, just thinking who she is, and I get that. And look, I'm just going to go out there and say it. Charlotte Flair won this back and forth. We kind of knew that's how it would go. Charlotte's just very domineering. That's just what she does. Call it kayfabe, call it a shoot. She is she feels how she feels about herself, and she wants to be treated as such. The 14-time women's champion spoke just like that, right? So you got some back and forth, and Flair spoke over her, takes credit for bringing out the best in Tiffany, and calls her a pick-me, and says that she challenged her because she felt sorry for Tiffany, and she's not that special. A lot of people saying, oh, then, Charlotte was one of the reasons Tiffany got into wrestling, of course, and they're even saying, oh, is Tiffany, could she be like the second coming of Charlotte Flair? Charlotte pointed out, just because you're blonde and you can do some backflips doesn't make you me. So there is some good back and forth here, or mainly just Charlotte talking over her. Tiffany talks about how she used to look up to her, as I mentioned, knows that she's the one who's going to take over Charlotte's spot when it's all said and done. Charlotte says she's the only woman in the locker room who will tell Tiffany the truth, and she's only here for competition. Stratton then accused Charlotte of finding the hottest thing around and throwing water on it over and over, as she typically does. And Flair says she's never been across from her, just beneath her. Like, you're beneath me, Tiffany. And Stratton says the only catching up she's doing is with the fans who don't want her back. Tiffany then closes and says the WWE Universe doesn't bow to you anymore, Charlotte, and that they now run on Tiffy time, which I thought was a great line, but I think we all know that, I want to see Tiffany retain. But I do think Charlotte Flair does get the win at WrestleMania. Hate to say it. And Charlotte obviously won this back and forth, if we're picking a winner here. So next up, we would have Jacob Fatu making his entrance for his match against Braun Strowman, which we found out through Braun just a couple moments prior that this is a #1 contenders match for LA Knight's United States Championship. So that's how that went. Appreciate you guys being here with me tonight, guys. If you're new here, welcome. Hit that subscribe button. Also, hit the like button in the corner there as well. Would like to see what you guys enjoyed most during this show. Even if we're not on that segment yet or we passed it, feel free to drop it in the chat, man. What were you guys feeling about this show? What you were not feeling? Who's a better champion, OTC or Cody Rhodes? Cody's doing his thing, man. I mean, I'm a Roman guy more so, but and he had a hell of a reign. But Cody's doing his thing. John Cena will have help from The Rock. Yeah, he might. We'll see. We're not quite sure what's going to unfold with the whole John Cena Rock alliance, but we'll see what happens at WrestleMania, right? So next up, guys, thank you for the couple new subscribers we got during this stream the last 10, 12 minutes, guys. Appreciate it. So anyway, Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu. Now, we've seen these guys go at it before. I believe Saturday night's main event in late January, they had a hell of a match in San Antonio, Texas on the 25th. So these guys, and I know during that whole situation, Jacob left Braun Strowman lying there in the corner, beat up, battered, bloodied, I think even. So the way this one wrapped up, Strowman threw Jacob over the announce desk, gasping for air. Ducked a lariat, big spinning spine buster, and Braun is in. Tama Tonga then got on the apron. This is where things got very confusing real quick. Tama Tonga got in there. Braun took him out. Then Strowman was about to take care of him. Solo Sikoa comes in, cuts him off. And then the referee called the match. He DQ'd Jacob Fatu. And at this moment in time, Jacob is absolutely incensed, right? Jacob's incensed because he's saying, what are you doing? You're costing me a #1 contendership for that United States Championship. What are you doing, Solo, Tama? Like, what are we doing? So we'll get to that in a little bit, especially backstage when Jacob goes completely off on Solo, tossing things backstage. So by this, Braun is the #1 contender to LA Knight's U.S. title. Post-match, Fatu is upset for a minute. Soon enough, joins the beatdown, though, at this moment in time. Braun recovers. Fatu lays him out. LA Knight is there for the save. Knight and Strowman beat the odds and sent the heels backstage. That's the way this went. Braun remembers he's the #1 contender. Had a brief stare down with LA Knight. And so we'll get that match. Obviously, regardless when that match is or how good that match is or not, LA Knight ain't losing to Braun Strowman. And so we're backstage with Liv and Raquel at this moment in time. Brief interview prior to her match with Jade Cargill later in the night, which we'll get to. But the next match will be Piper Niven versus Zelina Vega. But yeah, before that, let's talk about the backstage part, right? Where Jacob Fatu absolutely was beside himself about not winning that match, being interrupted, Solo costing him the match. And so let's talk about that in a minute. Let's see here. Rachel says, I hope KO loses. I can't say him, Kevin. Yeah, RKO and KO is going to be something. Aaron, I think the U.S. title picture is pretty bad. Braun versus LA Knight. Yeah, it really is all over the place, Aaron. And that's why I've been personally saying on weeks, and I know you guys hear me a lot on the TikTok lives. Most of you are over there as well. And a lot of people say, you could have a ladder match or something, a multi-man match for the IC title. And it's not that I'm opposed to that. It's that the U.S. title needs that more than ever at Mania. The IC title, regardless if Breaker retains or not, whether it's against the Finn, whether it's against the Penta, Ludwig, Sheamus, whoever gets involved in that, right? You could do a triple threat fatal four-way straight up. You got to do the U.S. title match on the SmackDown side of things at WrestleMania in a ladder match capacity, because I don't see LA Knight having just one individual opponent. Even if they want to take it off of him at Mania in that short period of time, just winning it back to maybe a Jacob Fatu or something, you got to have multi people in it. You got to have Carmelo Hayes. If you want to throw Nakamura in there, I probably wouldn't, but Carmelo, Nakamura if you want, Jimmy Uso, right, Andrade. Yeah, if you want to factor in the Jacob Fatus of the world, and maybe one or two other guys that you guys I'm sure could think of in the chat. And yeah, the U.S. title picture, in short, I agree with you, Aaron. It is a bit of a mess. It's not very appealing at all. Not very appealing at all. Who's the best wrestler in your opinion? It's quite a few, man. WWE and AEW and so on. I don't have one outright favorite right now, but I have a couple. Let's see there. Yeah, I'm reading your question. I'm doing a review, man. I'm not looking at the chat the whole time, brother. So I get to the chat when I can. Justin, what's up? What is rare? From TikTok. Yeah, let's see. New Bloodline interferes in match. Just making a triple threat already. Yeah, I hear you, Wiccan. Good to see you in here, man. Cal says, do you think we're going to get Jacob versus Solo at WrestleMania? I mean, look, there's enough time to do it. There's definitely enough time to do it. If they're really amplifying things, tonight's a good reason to really have them go to Splitsville. Jacob annoyed with Solo yet again. Solo said he was trying to just help. But at the same time, he cost a number one contendership for the U.S. title. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure Solo is smarter than that. He knows what he's doing. Yeah, I was able to duck out on all the spoilers, Rachel, opposed to last week. So thank you guys for all the likes. Thank you for the shares and all the special subscribes that I mainly meant to say. But thank you for the few subscribers we got here in the first 20 minutes. Thank you. And as we move on here, we're gonna talk about the next match here, which was Piper Niven versus Zelina Vega. Appreciate you, Justin. Appreciate you, my friend. So Piper Niven, Zelina Vega. Now, if you know me, I'm a big Zelina Vega fan. Also appreciate Piper Niven. I know she has barely scratched the surface for what she should have done in almost 4 years on the main roster, dating back to her days as Doudrop with Eva Marie, right? We all know that. If you knew the Piper Niven of NXT UK, you know she can go. Either way, decent match, a very odd matchup, odd pairing with these two. Vastly different sizes, right? It was okay at best. Towards the end of this match, we got Chelsea Green running interference on the apron. But what really sealed the deal here for Zelina Vega's fate was Alba Fire, getting involved in this match as well. And Nivens came off the rope hard, wins by pinfall with a freight train crossbody block. So Piper Niven got the win. Unfortunately, Zelina didn't get the victory. It's nice to see her get a decent match on an international show for what it's worth. So I don't know what this means. After weeks and weeks and weeks, 3, 4, maybe 5 weeks, pretty much almost since Zelina came to SmackDown from Raw, leaving the LWO, teasing backstage segments with Chelsea Green, and doesn't get the win here. Hey, I'm happy for Piper getting the win with all of the distractions, but does this mean, Zelina's never going to get that shot at Chelsea? From a character standpoint, I mean, Zelina and Chelsea are both pretty good in the ring, but from a character standpoint, especially in the mid-card, Zelina and Chelsea easily are the best on the microphone and character-wise in that women's mid-card scenario. Chelsea's extremely entertaining, Zelina's entertaining. So I don't know. What do you guys think we're going to get at Mania? Do you think we get Chelsea Green defending her title at Mania, hopefully? You would think an inaugural champ. Is it a singles match? Is it a triple threat? Let me know in the comments. Classic Random Clips, welcome in. Oh, man, R.I.P. George Foreman. I'm seeing that. Valerie, welcome in. Foreman, I'm sorry to hear that, guys. I did not. Was that just announced within the hour or two? So I didn't see that when I was watching SmackDown. Yeah, R.I.P. George Foreman. That's dang. Even Marie mentioned, I know, Wiccan, rare, right? Let's see. The Niven match was okay. It was pretty slow. Yeah, it definitely was. It's nothing to write home about. A very odd matchup, very odd pairing, but I'm happy that both women got booked on an international show. And, good for Piper getting the win. Obviously, she didn't do it all by herself. Chelsea, and namely Alba, was the reason that Zelina took this loss. Who's better, Dusty or Cody, you're saying? Oh, man, I appreciate both of them in a variety of ways, man. Define better, I guess. I love Dusty and his charisma. But, a lot of respect to Cody, especially how he's maneuvered the last 10 years, leaving WWE, paving his path outside of it, and coming back and defeating Roman Reigns. So that's a hell of a story. we're going to get to this next matchup here. The returning Jade Cargill finally. And as much as I'm going to talk about it here on YouTube, I cannot wait either tonight or sometime this weekend to discuss this on TikTok, because I know we get a much larger crowd. And it's great having all you guys here, but, you know, we could get more general ideas of what you guys thought of it. Jade Cargill going one-on-one with Liv Morgan, multi-time former world champion, a current tag team champion, that Liv Morgan. This match, man, it was very much obviously slowed down. This is what you're going to see with the Jade Cargill match. You know, so for all you ladies and gentlemen out there, and look, I like Jade. I like Jade to a point, but for everybody out there that's clamoring for Jade Cargill to get a WrestleMania match, I mean, there is the possibility of her and Naomi. But for those saying even months ago, Jade Bianca, Jade Rhea, Jade Charlotte, give me a break. All right, give me a break. Jade Becky, please, spare me. Spare me, because they're... Again, Jade is nowhere even in the conversation, even though she's gorgeous and looks like a real-life action figure and has that aura people like to use, like they like to use the word cinema, all right? The bottom line is Jade Cargill is not ready for a strong main singles run. I don't even know if she's ready for a mid-card singles run, honestly. So the way this ended was the way it should have ended. If you saw the match, you already know they tried to make it look like Liv was trying to escape her for a while. You know, Jade came out strong in the beginning. Liv got the better of her throughout the course of this match. Naomi pops up, which a lot of us intended would the past week once this match was advertised. Naomi interferes, got on the apron, distracted Cargill, eventually leading to the oblivion into a backbreaker. Naomi popped up on the apron, clocked her with one of the tag titles that Liv and Raquel hold. I was assuming it's Liv's title. And Jade is out cold. Liv took advantage with an oblivion for the 1-2-3. Post-match, Naomi went for the attack, you know, after getting beat down badly at the Chamber, getting beat down badly a week or two ago on SmackDown. It was finally time for Naomi to get her revenge. I love the ring gear, the caution outfit. First time Naomi's been an outright heel in almost 10 full years, and I love it. The glow thing was fun, but it's time for Naomi to move on from that. And so, look, I'm going to talk about how she was beating up Jade after that in a minute, but I want to get to some of the comments here. Wiccan says, I'm just waiting to see if it's either Piper or Alba. Puts the knife in Chelsea's back. Yeah, great question, Wiccan. You know, I know we've discussed this throughout the week, too. I'm led to believe it's going to be Alba. I really am. I'm led to believe it's going to be Alba, especially because Alba was the X factor that Piper even got the win tonight. So I think Alba Fire... you know, Alba Fire is a suitable opponent. You know, prior to her joining this little group of sorts, the whole Chelsea Green stable, you know, I was very heavy on thinking it was going to be Piper. But I don't think Jay deserves to be at WrestleMania. Yeah, I hear you, Justin, and that's a valid argument. That's a valid argument, realistically. And if she does end up on Mania this year, obviously it's because of Naomi. Obviously, Naomi's paved her path to obviously be on a Mania card without question. You know, but, you know, Jade could thank her for that. So... Classic random clips. I heard Jade was wrestling Butterpea. Hey, man. Naomi Exchange. Will you be on TikTok next? We'll see, Rachel. You know I went almost 3 hours last night on TikTok Live late last night. So my energy level is nowhere where it was last night, though you guys were absolutely awesome in there. 81,000 likes, and you guys were just amazing. I'll see what I could do tonight. We'll see. Maybe I'll pop in for a little bit. You know how that goes. So anyway, post-match, Naomi attacks Cargill, lays her out with an inverted surfboard stomp. Heat Seeker follows it up. It's Jade off the apron into the announce desk as well. And that was pretty much how that went. You know, at this moment in time, we would then go backstage with Drew McIntyre. Runs into an interview on his way out of the building. Basically said he didn't start this, but he'll finish it between him and Damian Priest. Blah, 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 blah. We're going to get those two in a match at WrestleMania, as we all intended we would see. Now we got the Street Profits, right, making their way out. This ends up being the final match of the night. Street Profits cut a promo, so we're going to get to that in a second. Who's the most annoying superstar in WWE? Asks Cal. I'll leave it to you guys. I don't have one off the top of the brain right now, but I'm sure I got a few if I really sat down and thought about it. Just Drew McIntyre with his classic sneak attack after the match. Yeah, right? Yeah, he's known for that, right? He's very infamous for doing that. Give me a second here, guys. Pull some more notes. Guys, appreciate you being here. Let's keep the likes going in the corner. If you have not already, be sure to hit the like, as well as subscribe to the channel, all right? On the way to 800 subscribers. Thank each and every one of you for doing so. And let's pull up the last bit here. going into the Street Profits. So they made their way in. Again, they have, as I said at the top of this live, they have new theme music. They're getting a lot of "You Deserve It" chants. Good for them, man. Italy was absolutely loving the Street Profits. What a moment. You know, for months we didn't know, are the Profits heels? Are they tweeners? When they came back and attacked everybody at the Rumble, we for sure thought they were heels. Now I'm kind of confused. Now it seems like they're easing back into the babyface side of things. I'm just gonna say with the same simple fact that Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins are tweeners. I'll leave it at that. I think they're tweeners. So anyway, Ford, said, they're generous. It's been beautiful, first time in 4+ years, 4 years, 2 months to be exact. And I think a week since they have held those tag titles, right? January 2021. I think it was January 8th, 2021 was the last time they held the SmackDown tag team titles around their waist. And they won them back last Friday for the very first time. It's crazy, crazy. That's not a team you expect to go on almost 5 years without winning gold. You really don't. So anyway, they go on. Dawkins adds that it's about damn time, basically alludes to the past 4+ years. The doubt was creeping in their minds, but holding the titles now made it all worth it. As they were about to proceed, Legado del Fantasma interrupted Santos Escobar, Humberto Carrillo, Angel Garza. Santos came out speaking some Italian, trying to get the crowd on his side, I guess. Basically goes on to say, they finally getting the title back is a beautiful moment, but too bad it's going to end abruptly by Humberto and Angel. Then, Pretty Deadly, the true #1 contenders to their titles, made their way out. Basically told Santos he could run his mouth all day long, but he's forgetting we won the #1 contendership 2 weeks ago. So that's that. Tells Pretty Deadly to stay out of it. Montez Ford went on a whole shouting spree for a little bit. Long story short, we're getting that match next week, I believe. We're getting, in the O2 Arena in London, we're getting Pretty Deadly going up against the Street Profits, who will be defending those tag team titles. But tonight, we would get the final match of the night. This was the main event match of the night, Los Garza versus the Street Profits, which honestly was my favorite match of the night. Not even close. Not even close. Because not only are all 4 of these guys great in tag team action, all 4 of these individuals are great in singles as well. Montez, Angelo, Humberto, Angel, they're fantastic. I've known this for a while, but it's beautiful actually getting to see it play out in an international, on an international stage. So it was great to see. This was a lot of fun. I'm going to get to that in a minute as I go through some comments here. Rachel, what'd you say about The Miz? Did Miz have a segment during this show? I may have missed that. Did anything happen with him? Feel free to shed some light on that. Justin says Montez should get a singles title run if the Street Profits lose titles at Mania. Yeah, and I've said it for months too. I think even if it's a year from now, Montez will obviously make his way to that main title picture one day. Angelo, he's not just going to flounder in the mid card. I could see for starters, Angelo and Montez both being mid card champions for starters. And then at minimum, Montez at least making his way up there one day for a world title. Not completely sold on Angelo making it to the very top, but we'll see. Angelo could do his thing as well. Who's the most overpowered superstar? What is Triple H going to do with Alexa Bliss? I agree. I don't know what the deal is. 31. It's been 3 full weeks, man. That we have not seen Bliss, right? Like you said, has it been since the Chamber? We fully intended on seeing her be implemented in the Wyatt 6 by now. And so I don't know what the deal is. I wish I had a good answer for you less than 4 weeks in the Mania. I thought Alexa would for sure be on the card in some capacity, even if it meant her reuniting with them. Maybe her and Nikki go up against Raquel and Liv in a tag match. Maybe add another team. It ain't looking that like that's going to be the case. Did I hear Bo Dallas is clear to the Wyatt 6? Yeah, we'll see, Cal. No sign of them yet, man. Heard a lot of people hating Pretty Deadly, but to me, they are money wicking. Look, they're the quintessential tag team. Don't judge a book by its cover, right? You look at Pretty Deadly, and you're like, what the hell are they wearing? And you might not be the biggest fans of their theme music, but honestly, these two, they're phenomenal. They're a phenomenal tag team. They can go more than anything, and so they made me believers. I didn't watch them a whole lot prior to, I don't know, maybe late 2022 when they were popping up on NXT for a little bit. And when they dropped the tag titles to the New Day at NXT Deadline 2022, that's when they made me believers. That's when I said, okay, these guys are for real. They had a great match, even though they lost to New Day. Them losing the titles was not a big deal to me. What was a big deal to me is they showed me they can go against a team like the New Day nonetheless. So they're a great tag team. If it were up to me, would I change their gimmick a little bit or at least a slight tweak? Probably. What would I repackage them as? Not sure, but I do know they could go in the ring. So it's going to be fun next week. Obviously, we fully anticipate Profits retaining after only holding the titles by then 2 weeks. But at the very same time, they're getting a great opportunity in the O2 in London. So that's a big deal. It's a big stage. 4 weeks away from Mania. Yeah, that's right, Kyle. That's right. 4 weeks. So let's talk a little bit about this match, I suppose. Then we'll get to the main event segment, which was Reigns, Rollins, Punk, which, cool. We're going to get that match at Mania. I thought this could have been a lot more fiery. The physicality aspect, the mic aspect was cool. I think there could have been a lot more physicality towards this, but I don't know. I guess they played it safe, quite literally. Who do you want to win the KO Randy Orton match? Because I got Kevin Owens. Yeah, Cal. Well, I know you love KO. Now, if I say Randy, are you going to shout? I don't know. Realistically, I'm a big Randy Orton guy, so I'll probably be cheering for Randy Orton. But honestly, that's nothing against KO. I love KO like you do. Maybe not as much, but I do enjoy KO too. But I'm probably going to lean towards Randy. But mainly, I'm just looking forward to a great match. So let's talk about this. Los Garza versus the Street Profits. Fantastic match. I wish I was on color commentary for this and break this whole thing down spot by spot, which I'm not going to do. But what I will say, there was a lot of back and forth. It was beautiful. If you saw it, then you already know what's up. Let's jump into the later stages of this match. Dawkins comes to help Montez up with Carrillo. Garza hangs by a leg off the top rope. A beautiful superplex for these two. Angelo, big spine buster connects. Back body drop. Makes sure both Garza, both of them were on the floor. Santos up on the apron looking like the cover to a romance novel, as they said here on Cage Side, which I thought was a great thing to add there. But we got the tag. Montez off the top. And Montez, we've seen this for years, man. He has one of the most beautiful, not just currently, but Montez frog splash is a thing of beauty. Not only does he land it perfectly, I mean, the height he gets, when you see this thing in a freeze frame or like a slow motion, it's unbelievable. So he hit the frog splash beautifully as usual onto Angel, I believe it was. Angel Garza pops up, and then he slopes right back down, pulls up the leg for the 1, 2, 3, and Profits obviously won this one. So this was great. I love it, and I'm excited for the Profits, man. They're off to a great start. From the match they had, from the way the fans reacted, and yet again on this international tour, they have another beautiful matchup next week against Pretty Deadly, the #1 contenders in London. So that'll be fun. That'll be fun. So now we have a final segment coming up here. I read somewhere Seth, Punk, Roman, maybe the main event of night one, Rachel. Yeah, I could certainly see that being in discussion. Like I said, there's 3 potential night one main events. Obviously, 2 of them, pertain to the world title picture. You got Jay Gunther, you got Bianca Io, potentially Rhea being added. And then you have the non-title match being Roman, Seth, and Punk, which, I mean, that's a big deal, right? That's a major deal. So, look, if we get this happening in the main event, I won't be opposed to it at all. I'm just going to assume that the women's world title match or Gunther, one of those two, have to open up night one. Or maybe one opens up night one and one opens up night 2. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm excited for that nonetheless. Let's see here. Yeah, no, I know, Cal. It's all good, brother. Main event with Roman Reigns and Punk just felt underbooked. Yes, it felt... Yes, correct. So, yes, we knew there was certainly star power in all these guys. Roman especially, Seth, Punk, all of them, right? Coming out into this segment was solid. We knew we were going to get them. So that's the thing. When you advertise all 3, now the expectations are heightened, okay? You're saving them for the last segment of a 3-hour show. The show is an international show. We're in Italy, okay? This is part of their 3-week international tour. And, Paul Heyman is in the midst of this whole Roman Punk controversy. So this is a big deal. And like Justin went on to say, it kind of felt underbooked, I'll be honest. I like to turn off a show feeling like, damn, I can't wait. Now, look, I will say I can't wait for this match to happen at Mania. I agree. Could it be main event of night 1? Absolutely. But that being said, this was a very underwhelming segment after the back and forth talking. Even the talking was so-so. There was nothing too slick. I'll be honest, what was it? The week before the Chamber match when everybody was going at each other? Drew and Priest and Punk and Seth, and when Punk called Seth an oven mitt, that was fiery. That was good. When Logan played everybody, we thought we were hearing John Cena come out, and it was Logan Paul who came out. That whole segment really got me revved up. This, I don't know, man. It under-delivered, in my opinion, but always great to see the OTC. Got on the mic, got a nice applause, all that good stuff. goes on to talk about Punk, talks about Seth, and obviously what the events that occurred last week, how he came after Seth and Punk in that MSG cage match. And before he could say much more, I mean, he pretty much said what he needed to say. He's taking his time tonight. He says if anybody wants to come out and confront the tribal chief, please let him know. Seth Rollins then comes out, lets the crowd serenade him, came out and singing his song for a little bit. The crowd was loving everybody. You know, they loved Roman. They were loving the whole aura of this whole event. The crowd won this segment, really. They won a lot of the segments, but the crowd won. It wasn't Roman or Seth or Punk that made this segment extra special. It was the crowd that made this segment extra special. So came out, they serenaded Roman, Seth, and then Punk when he made his way out a little bit later. But I'll talk about what Seth had to say. Basically went on to say he doesn't understand, maybe that Reigns doesn't understand how dangerous CM Punk is to the future of this company, and he should have let him finish while he had the chance, but he gets it. It's not about him. It's never been about him. It's about the two of them. They came in together. There's no Roman without Seth, and he says vice versa. They cannot coexist in the same space, which I love those things. You know, we all knew this, but I love that it's being said. And then shortly thereafter, right before Punk came in, he says the story of Roman and Seth has a lot of pages written, and he thinks it's time to add another chapter. Boom, CM Punk's music hits. Makes his way up to the apron, shoots Paul Heyman a wink. It's more significant than we know, but we'll get to that in a minute. And now I'm going to go on to see tell you what Punk had to say and the conclusion of this segment. But I want to get to a couple more comments here. Legato's faces when Montez landed. Reigns, Punk, and Seth. Who needs this winning the most in your opinion? Who needs the win most, Wiccan? I would say Seth Rollins, believe it or not, out of those three. Especially because there's always the comparison of Reigns Rollins tied together because of the Shield. And so I feel like Seth more than anybody. And I feel like it's going to spin off to Punk Roman anyway after this. So you might as well give Seth the win. That's how I feel about it. Sean, what's up, man? Gonna be good WrestleMania between Punk and Rollins? Yep. Cal says it's going to hurt me to say this, but for some reason I feel like Seth is going to win it. Yeah, I think Seth is going to win it too. I agree with you. I feel it too. You know, I want Roman to win. All right, so we're all collectively, regardless who we favor, Punk, Roman, Seth, we all kind of agree Seth is probably going to win this match, and I'm okay with that. I'm very okay with that. I think the bigger picture we move on to next is obviously, and it could lead all the way into SummerSlam in August here in Jersey. Roman Reigns, CM Punk, the whole caveat of Paul Heyman, and what is this favor that Punk is going to get from Heyman? So I'm interested to see that. 31 says, I'm afraid that Liv and Alexa will not be at WrestleMania match card. Well, we know it doesn't look at this moment that Alexa's going to be on it at all, but I would like to hope Liv's going to be on it, at least defending her tag team title in some capacity. But obviously, going back to your statement, if Alexa's not on there, I mean, it's not that Liv completely won't be on the show, but I would have loved to see a Nikki Cross and Alexa out of the Wyatt Six going up against Liv Morgan and Raquel. The 3-time tag team champions going up against the 2-time, potentially 3-time tag team champions. So, guys, I want to take this moment to thank you for being here for the last 40 minutes. Also, hit that subscribe button, all right? If you're new here, welcome. Mondays and Fridays after Raw and SmackDown, I come on here for a full review of the show, although the next 2 Mondays, I'll be coming on around 9 p.m. or so Eastern Time because the shows will be earlier on Netflix due to the international schedule. But Friday nights are as usual. Shortly after SmackDown, I try to hop on here as quick as I can. So hit that subscribe button, guys. Almost at 800 subs. And again, be sure to hit the like button as well, all right? We're going to finish up this review in the next 10 minutes or so. So hit that like button, hit that thumbs up, and again, subscribe. Thank you for being here. Let's see here. They announced we get Roman on our screens for the next 3 weeks. Oh, Rachel, you're locked in. You got the chocolate-covered strawberries. I know how your Friday nights work. All right, I know how your Friday nights work. It's a beautiful thing. So again, guys, thank you for the subs. Hit those likes, hit those subs. Thank you. We're gonna talk a little bit about CM Punk in the next moment. He gets on there again. He shot Paul Heyman a wink. We know there's something going on there. And he gets on the top turnbuckle. I like that. A little bit of hierarchy, almost. Like, all right, you're almost beneath me. Seth, you're there. Roman, you're there. And I'm up here. Look at me. I like that from CM Punk. Basically says his right hand isn't taped up to hold the microphone, and he's got some facts. Neither Big Chief nor Grimace, referring to Seth, have ever beaten him without the other one's help because they can't. He didn't screw Roman because it's every man for himself in the Royal Rumble, and his wise man should have clued him in on that. I like the Heyman reference. Again, I don't know how you guys feel. Drop it in the chat. When this is all said and done, whether it's at WrestleMania, whether it's Backlash, whether it's August at SummerSlam, where I think Punk and Roman totally explode, possibly against one another, when do you think Heyman potentially turns on Roman? And if and when he turns on Roman, is he fully going to join himself with CM Punk, or will it be some other kind of swerve? Because I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Wiccan says people were saying Alexa wasn't going to be at the Rumble, so this could be another Triple H. Yeah, that's a very good point, Wiccan. Nobody, I won't say nobody, but a lot of people, right, had their doubts about Alexa, especially the last week or two, about Alexa even being at the Rumble. But lo and behold, she was there, so that's a good point. So let's wrap up what Punk had to say here. He said he wouldn't have made it to the Rumble if he hadn't saved Roman at War Games, going up against the new Bloodline. There's truth to that. And he reminds Paul that he's owed a favor. Again, what is this favor, guys? Let me know in the comments. What's this favor Paul Heyman owes Punk? Please drop it in the comments. Again, guys, thank you for the likes. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. But he says before he gets to that, he thanks Paul for delivering his tribal chief to him on a silver platter. Roman then kind of turns around, looks at Paul, and kind of confused. At that moment, Punk jumps on him. He took the opportunity to get on him. And if you look at Heyman's, facial expressions, I know a couple of you in the live here, especially the last month we've been talking, we've been saying actually even before that. We've been talking about this since the end of 2024, whenever Paul Heyman had returned, right? Where we thought he was going to join Solo Sikoa in the new Bloodline. Coming out with the blazer with the red undershirt like Solo did early on when he was claiming to be the new OTC and stuff like that, or the new Tribal Chief, shall I say. So I don't know, man. Paul Heyman, the way he shoots those looks, especially when he's behind Roman's back, kind of makes you feel like he's almost still in that deciding stage if and when he should turn on Roman. But we know he will in a heartbeat. We know Paul Heyman. You can't trust him. Rachel says, I see it at WrestleMania 41, but here's a curveball. Heyman screws both Punk and Roman. It's, okay, good point, Rachel. And so for the first time tonight during this promo, that was the first time I ever thought that to myself. I said, what if? Because it almost feels like Punk is at a point in his career, right, where, yeah, if Punk goes full-blown heel with Heyman, been there, done that, right? And it's not even just about being heel. It's about being aligned with Heyman. Now, look, I'm all for Punk and Heyman getting back together, rejoining and stuff. I think that could be cool. But just to be an outright heel, not to say Punk can't pull it off. I think he's more than capable. But I think there's definitely, Rachel, an added level of intrigue if Heyman is the one who then sides with Seth, leaves Roman, and it's not for CM Punk, as we all assume it's going to be. So I like that school of thought, and I'm kind of hoping that's what happens. So the way this went, obviously, he jumped on Roman here, jumping back into the finishing 2 minutes of the show. And this is what I really didn't care for, I'll be honest. The best part of it might have been Punk going after Roman. They roll around on the mat. Seth joined the fray after, going back and forth, debating. And it wasn't so much he wanted to help Roman. It's like, I just don't like Punk, says Seth. And he went after him. Roman takes him off of Punk and throws him into the turnbuckle. Rollins returns. The referee was trying to desperately calm things down. Brawl would not stop. On the outside, the referee and a bunch of agents, Hurricane Helms and the boys, they all made their way out. Punk ends up standing up on the announce desk, pointing to the Mania sign. So Punk was the first one to point at the Mania sign. I think Rollins dived on him at that point. It was craziness, drop kicks and all this stuff. On the outside, Roman also, shortly thereafter, points at the Mania sign. I don't know if Seth did. I might have missed if Seth pointed at the sign too. Maybe all three of them did. But I know Punk for sure and Roman for sure both pointed at the Mania sign. So 2 out of 3 is a winning vote for me. So we know we're getting this match at Mania. And again, as many of you mentioned, we could possibly even be getting this as the main event of night 1. A non-title match. So if you're going to do a non-title match as the main event, this would be it. I'm sure the Ios and Biancas aren't crazy about it. I'm sure the Gunthers and Jey Usos probably aren't crazy about it. Especially if you're Jey Uso, right? You're like, I won the friggin' Rumble, and then for a world title shot. And there goes my cousin again, Roman Reigns, still finding his way to the main event of WrestleMania. And I won the Rumble, and I'm going up against Gunther for the world title. So that's kind of funny. Maybe not so funny for Jay, but we'll see. So Fan 31 says everyone is turning on Roman Reigns. So only fan is Moxley. Yeah, you got a point. Last and Saul, yeah, sound good, but I don't see Seth and Heyman meshing. Yeah. Yeah, right. Seth and Heyman meshing again. And I think that's why a lot of us at first, Wiccan never really thought they would be a compatible duo. Seth did point at the sign. Okay. So I'm assuming Seth pointed at the sign, Rachel, between Punk and Roman. Was it Punk, Seth, and Roman? Or was Seth the first one to do it, then Punk? But either way, the fact that all three of them pointed at the sign, never mind 2 out of 3, but then it's a collective vote. right there, Cal. So again, I thought this, if I had to give this a number grade, 1 through 10, 10 being great, at best, I would give the show a 7. I'd give the show a 7. I expected a hell of a lot more out of this main event segment. Again, obviously, it's not a match, but I just did expect it to be more, I don't know, impactful to say the least. Bear with me for a second, guys, as I pull up a few more notes. Thought it'd be more impactful of a segment. I know there was one segment I did not mention prior to, this main event bit here, and that was when we were discussing, Pretty Deadly. They backstage ran into DIY, talking about how their tag title match is coming up next week, trying to win the tag titles. And DIY, I think, was talking about a potential, you scratch our back, we'll scratch yours type of deal about helping them out. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think DIY is going to be the ones who actually screw it up for Pretty Deadly next week? I could easily see that. But then we saw Motor City Machine Guns appear behind DIY and welcome them to the back of the line where they're going to beat them, to say the least. They said a few other choice words. And so that was pretty much that. Again, this show was okay. Road to WrestleMania, yeah, I do have heightened expectations. I'm not one who comes into every Raw and SmackDown every week, year round, expecting a A+ show, but we're less than 4 weeks to WrestleMania. And Raw set the bar pretty high earlier this week. So, again, this show was all right at best. I give it a solid 7 out of 10. And, again, well, a lot of things were clarified here tonight, right? Where we're getting this big-time matchup, Roman Seth Punk at Mania. We are. We will get Drew and Damian Priest. We are getting Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. So we got a lot of men's matches squared away tonight, as we knew we would. The number one contender for the U.S. title at this moment is Braun Strowman. What will they eventually do for that match at Mania, though? That's what matters. And what's going to happen with the women's U.S. title? Chelsea Green. Zelina's not racking up a bunch of wins here. There was a 3-on-1 type of deal tonight with Chelsea on the outside, Alba on the outside, costing her match against Piper. What does that mean for Zelina? Like Wiccan mentioned, will it be Alba or Piper that eventually turn on Chelsea, who could eventually be that feud and maybe person to eventually dethrone Chelsea? 2-3 weeks ago, before Alba joined, I would have said maybe Piper's the one. But now I'm thinking it's Alba Fire who might be the next U.S. champion. So we'll see when that time comes. Pretty Deadly. No, boy, DIY. Yes, that was funny, Wiccan. Remember when pull-aparts were special? Yes, of course. I do, Nas. I do. Angel Garza still keeping it alive, man. I remember playing high school basketball, and that was a big deal. The snap-away pants. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. That was a big deal. We all thought that was cool. I remember on a couple travel teams I was on, when we finally got those snap-away pants, not the ones we had to take off before the game. You're able to take them off during the introductions, as all the March Madness was doing it, and all the NBA players throughout the years, man. So cool, so cool. But the one thing I will say about Angel Garza, I think it's cool that he's been doing that for years during the course of his match. Because at some point in the match, you're always looking, from a fan standpoint, always looking forward to him doing that at some point. And as heels, it's a great, thing to annoy people with, as he threw the pants right at Angelo Dawkins' face. So I thought that was funny. But again, the show was decent, was solid. Road to WrestleMania. Got to amp it up a little better because Raw's been phenomenal and SmackDown's been kind of so-so for a while now. They have their bright spots time to time, but that's how I feel about that. So again, guys, I'll hang here for a few more minutes. I'll take some more comments, questions, concerns. Drop it in the chat here. Yeah, Rachel, I guess you pretty much feel the same as I did tonight about tonight's show. And that says a lot. And it's not Roman's fault, obviously, but with Roman on the show, especially, we expected this to be a barn burner, if you want to call it that. But, especially if you're going to save this for the main event, and rightfully so. You put this at the end of hour 3. Got to make it more fiery than that. So I expect to see these 3 really heat things up and go at it. I want to see chaos from the start of the show to the end of the show with the Punk, with the Rollins, with the Roman. I mean, I don't care what show it's on, if it's on Raw, if it's on SmackDown, because Punk is full-time on Raw, and so is Seth, right? If I'm not mistaken, so Roman. Well, isn't Roman? They're all on Raw, right? Aren't they all on Raw and they all end up on SmackDown? But obviously, they did all of this on SmackDown this week to be a counter to what we saw on Raw this Monday, right? Where we saw Cena, we saw Cody. They needed their time. These 3 needed their time. And it's not even close as far as what segment was more impactful. Cena and Cody was far above what we got here tonight with Roman, Seth, and Punk. But hey, we'll see what the next 3+ weeks have in store for us. If you're Latin Superstar, name Mysterio, you seem to get lost in the cracks. Yeah, sad to say, Wiccan, it seems to be the case more times than not. No more times than that for sure. So, guys, again, before I get out of here in a little bit, drop more commentary of what you're looking forward to on the road to WrestleMania, and be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe. And again, I will be back here on YouTube for a live. I'll be back here Monday night around 9 p.m. or so Eastern time for a full review of Monday Night Raw. It'll be another early show this week and the following week for Raw being international with the time difference. But around 9 p.m. Eastern time, the next 2 Mondays, I'll be doing my full Monday Night Raw review. Cal, yeah, I may hop on TikTok in a little bit. Night is still relatively young enough for me, at least. So I'll probably see you guys on TikTok in about 15 minutes. I'm not getting out of here for another 5, but Rachel says, I love my guy, but nothing could beat Cody and see his promo. Yeah, absolutely. Totally unbiased, Rachel. Yeah, I love some Roman too. I mean, I may not love Roman as much as you do. All right? You're Rachel Reigns there, Rach. But, bottom line is, yeah, Cena, and then Cody at the end there. The other night was much better. Raw, amazing. NXT, great. SmackDown, good. That's fair to say. Yeah. I mean, NXT's been collectively the best show, as I say every time I get the opportunity. NXT has been collectively the best weekly episodic TV show for weeks, months, and well over a year, opposed to most other shows. Even when Raw was kind of a year ago, NXT was consistently putting out good stuff. But yeah, Raw's been fantastic, especially lately. Wiccan says, what did you think of the Ray Phoenix video? And then we got something in regards to that whole 4 earlier, right? We assume Aleister Black. And somebody, people have been mentioning, does the 4 mean 4 years he's been away from the company with AEW? Curious about that. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. Are they both going to be after Mania? I would assume so. I would love to see a few vignettes. Yeah, Tammy Tonga's kind of been doing her own thing these days, Rachel, on TikTok. And good for her, man. She's been doing a lot of the boxes and stuff like that. So Tammy's been doing her own thing. I wish her the best, man. Doing a lot of her own content creation. So, yeah, Tammy Tonga's sorely missed, man. At least I got you, representing, Roman. We got Miss J more times than not representing her Seth, which would be fun with you two going into Mania, right? And but yeah, Tammy Tonga, hope to see her around on the road to WrestleMania as well. Rachel or the OTC? Cal, you putting me in these precarious positions, man. That's a win-win, or that's a lose-lose if I answer it, right? But so it's a win-win if I pick both. Rachel and the OTC. They come as a package deal, as Rachel would let you know. Guys, again, I'm going to get out of here in a minute. Thank you for being here tonight for this Friday Night SmackDown review. Again, I'll be back Monday night around 9 p.m. Eastern Time for a full review of Monday Night Raw. Looking forward to that show. Should be a lot of fun. And so, again, if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe on this channel. Turnbuckle Topics. We're not very far away from 800 subs. Trying to get to 800 before the end of the month. I think we certainly can within the next week or so. And again, hit that like button if you haven't already, guys. Strowman would have been better. Strowman would have a better title run than Knight. Wiccan, it's hard to disagree with that. It really is. Because even if you're the biggest LA Knight fan, you got to admit, he's kind of just there. The catchphrase, even though everybody's still doing the yeah and all that, it's not really hitting like it once was. So I agree with you. You already know how I feel about the whole LA Knight first U.S. title reign. For his sake, I hope for a better, second title reign. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Ain't looking that way. Week or 2 in. Ain't feeling that way. So appreciate you guys being here, man. Any last comments, questions, or concerns before I make my way out of here? And probably head on TikTok, go live there for a little bit. A little before the 1 a.m. hour on the East Coast here. I'm not big on heels, but I wouldn't mind seeing Jacob hold the U.S. belt. Yeah, I think it's all about the timing of that, Rachel, right? Like, I feel like it's going to happen this year, so long as they keep him and that title on SmackDown. It's not if, but when. I could see them holding off. I don't know if they could hold off till SummerSlam. I think at latest, Jacob wins singles gold at SummerSlam. I think that's a cool place to do it. I mean, they could do it on a random episode of SmackDown if they so choose, just like they had Io beat Rhea a couple weeks ago on a random episode of Raw. Or they could do it at a different PLE. So we'll see. Me and Stephanie versus you and Alexa. WWE fans, sign me up. Sign me up. Matter of fact, email it to me now. I'll fax it right back to you tonight. I would love that mixed tag match. That is a great proposal, my friend. Cal, Miss J, or Austin 316. You're hitting me where it hurts, man. I got love for all parties involved. Rachel and the OTC, Miss J and Austin. Again, I'm going to have to go they come as a total package, just like the other ones. So it's a win-win. I'm going with both. You guys are funny, man. Wiccan says that question that was getting filtered on TikTok was asking how come Kendrick and London. What are you saying there, Wiccan? Me and Roman versus you and Stephanie. Hey, look, Rach, anytime you're going to pair me up, all right, with Stephanie Vecker, the double champ on NXT, I'm pretty much almost ready to take on anybody. I may draw the line at Jacob Fatu and his tag team partner, or Bronson Reed and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I'm pretty much here for it. So, but yeah, Wiccan, what were you saying there as far as get as much love as what tag team champions? What were we talking about? Bloodline rules. Yeah, that's interesting stipulation you got there, Rachel. That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, see, WWE fan kept it simple. He just had us, in a straight out mixed tag match, like the mixed match challenge back in 2018. Those were some good times. All right, guys, hit that subscribe. Again, I'm heading out of here in a minute. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Promise, don't cost you a thing. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Appreciate the follows. And again, guys, I'm on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and X. You could also follow me over there as well. At Turnbuckle TOPIX. Same handle for every platform I'm on. Yeet or the game? The game. They were filming my names. Oh, nobody gives them their flowers. Yeah, I don't know, Wiccan. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with that. And I think I'm more stumped on the fact as to why they would filter that out on TikTok. I feel like TikTok filters out a lot of weird stuff, man. It's not because I don't even really have any keywords in on my lives. So like, if a certain word is said that it just doesn't come up at all, that's kind of odd. Rachel says I'm teaming with the tribal chief. Doing the right, then y'all will acknowledge this. Hey, look, if I look, I'm gonna acknowledge Stephanie first, and then all the rest is just, what I mean. The rest is all good, man. Regardless, win, lose, or draw. All right, gang, you guys are great, man. I'm gonna get out of here. All right. Anything else you crazy wrestling fans want to talk about on a Friday night? So I have new opponents for me and Julia now. Yes, Wiccan. I'm totally up for that too. If it means I get to meet, we finally get to meet, and then I get to meet Julia. Hey, that's what I call a good night, man. Sounds like a good time. You guys are crazy with the mixed tag, mixed match challenge propositions. Alexa, Julia. Sounds good. Sounds good. Rachel got a proposition. I'm sure Miss J would have one too if she was in here. Let's see here. Wiccan says, okay, I read that. You versus the Prime Undertaker. Yeah, I'm gonna hop on TikTok in a few minutes there, guys. I'm gonna round up to about an hour here. Why not? I'm 2 minutes away from hitting an hour here. I'll just stay on. Any last comments, guys, while I'm here? Sounds good there, Cal. Yeah, Rachel, absolutely, guys. I'll see you in a minute. I'm just going to hang here another minute, round off at an hour, and hang on here, get a couple songs queued up for TikTok, and get that going in a minute. Yeah, guys, if you are on TikTok and you're not following me already, go follow me on TikTok, because more times than not, especially after a review here, I usually hop on there. So at Turnbuckle TOPIX over there as well. Me and Stephanie versus Seth and Becky. All right. I'll take that challenge, John. I'll take that challenge. Me versus Orton. Oof. All right, Cal. Yeah, Orton, man. I don't know. I guess it'd be cool to say I took an RKO. That'd be a quick match. I'd let him end it quick. Just hit me with an RKO. Let's get it over with. And just to brag to everybody that I got to go up against him. KO? Oh, man, Cal. I don't know. That sounds a lot more brutal. Something tells me that KO would not be nearly as kind as Randy Orton. It probably wouldn't just be a stunner and it's over. Might be a stunner, a pop-up powerbomb. What did he do to Randy, Cody, and Sammy? A pile driver? I think not. Although it sounds enticing, I feel like KO would put me through a few tables as well. So, all right, you guys are bringing too much heat. Too much heat in the kitchen. Me versus KO, me versus Jacob Fatu. That's crazy. I can't do that. Randy Orton is where I might draw the line. Seth would be easy to handle and just give him free chicken wings. Me versus Austin. Now we're talking my language again, 31. Yeah, Austin, I could do that. There I could take a stunner, especially if I'm going up against present day Stone Cold Steve Austin, right? What is he, 60 now, something like that? Doesn't take anything away from him as far as his toughness goes. I just wouldn't want to be going up against prime Stone Cold. That's all. But yeah, a stunner from Austin, called a day, right? All right, Rachel may have the comment of the night. When I thought 31 had the comment of the night. Me versus Stephanie, absolutely. I'm tapping out. Think Kevin Owens only likes to. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I hope to see a lot of you on TikTok. I'll probably be on there about 10, 15 minutes, give or take, maybe before that. Thank you for joining me on this Friday night SmackDown review. I will see you Monday night around 9 p.m. Eastern Time for a full review of Monday Night Raw. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, hit that like button before I get out of here. And last but certainly not least, hit that subscribe as well. Be part of the Turnbuckle Topics family here on YouTube. All right, guys. Me versus Punk. All right, guys, take care, and thank you again. See a lot of you on TikTok in a little bit.